Talk to your cat this way, and they will understand you instantly. It may sound too simple or even exaggerated, but the truth is that most people spend years living with cats without ever truly learning how to communicate with them. And when I talk about communication, I'm not just talking about meows or cute words. I'm talking about something much deeper. Cats are extremely sensitive to energy, tone of voice, the intention behind words, and, most importantly, the way you position yourself in the environment. If you've ever felt like your cat seems distant, ignores you, or only shows up when it's time to eat, know that this doesn't mean a lack of affection. Most of the time, it simply means that you're speaking different languages. Cats don't communicate like humans do. They don't need long sentences, explanations, or repeated commands. They observe patterns. They feel the atmosphere. They notice when you're tense, anxious, irritated, or in a hurry, even if you don't say a single word. And when you talk to a cat without aligning your energy with theirs, they simply shut down. But when you learn to speak the right way, using the correct tone, rhythm, and posture, something changes almost instantly. The cat relaxes, comes closer, responds with their body, with their eyes, and often even with their voice. There's a huge myth that cats are cold or too independent to form deep bonds. That's not true. Cats form very strong bonds, but only with those who understand them. They don't connect with people who try to control them, force them, or demand attention. They connect with those who respect their time, their space, and their language. And that's exactly what you're going to learn today. How to talk to your cat in a way they understand, trust, and respond to. Before we continue, I want to ask you for something that may seem small, but actually makes a massive difference. Take a second right now to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, because when you do that, you're not just supporting this video, you're helping this message reach thousands of people who love cats but still struggle to truly understand them. The YouTube algorithm pays close attention to these interactions, and your like and subscription tell the platform that this content is valuable and worth sharing with more cat lovers around the world. And please make sure you stay until the very end of this video. I say this because near the end I'm going to reveal a simple detail that almost no one talks about and almost no one applies, yet it can completely change the way your cat behaves around you. It doesn't matter if your cat is shy, fearful, distant, independent, or not very affectionate. This one adjustment can help your cat feel safer, more confident, and more connected to you. Many people skip the end of videos and miss the most important part, and I really don't want that to happen to you, because this insight ties everything together in a very powerful way. While you're here, I also want you to take a moment to scroll down and leave a comment. Tell me honestly how you feel about your relationship with your cat right now. Do you feel like your cat understands you when you talk to them, or does it sometimes feel like you're living in completely different worlds, sharing the same space but not the same language? Your comment matters more than you think. I read them, I respond whenever I can, and your experience might help someone else who's feeling frustrated, confused, or even a little sad about their connection with their cat. This channel is about learning together, sharing experiences, and building real bonds with our cats, and your voice is an important part of that. Now let's get to the most important point of all, the foundation of real communication between you and your cat, tone of voice. This is where most people get it wrong, not because they don't care, but because they simply don't realize how sensitive cats are to sound. For a cat, tone matters far more than the actual words you're saying. Your cat doesn't process language the way humans do. Instead, they process vibration, rhythm, and emotional intent. The tone of your voice is the message. When your tone is loud, sharp, rushed, or tense, your cat's nervous system reacts immediately. Even if your words are positive, your cat doesn't hear love, they hear unpredictability. A raised voice, a clipped sentence, or a sudden change in volume tells your cat that something in the environment is off. Instinctively, they shift into alert mode. Their ears rotate, their muscles tense, their tail stiffens or flicks, and their focus moves away from connection and towards self-protection. In that moment, your cat isn't choosing to ignore you. They're choosing safety. This is why so many people feel confused when their cat walks away as soon as they start talking. From a human perspective, it feels like rejection. From a feline perspective, it's simply self-regulation. Cats are masters at protecting their emotional balance, and sound plays a huge role in that. What feels normal or expressive to us can feel overwhelming or threatening to them. Now compare that to what happens when you soften your voice. A calm, steady, slightly higher-pitched tone creates a completely different emotional signal. It tells your cat that the environment is stable, that nothing is being demanded, and that there's no urgency. This kind of tone feels predictable, and predictability is one of the most important sources of comfort for a cat. You'll often notice that when you speak this way, your cat's breathing slows, their posture loosens, and their movements become more fluid. And this isn't about sounding silly or talking like a baby. It's about intention. It's about removing tension from your voice, letting your words flow gently and allowing pauses to exist. Silence between words is just as important as the words themselves. Those pauses give your cat time to process what they're sensing and to decide how they want to respond. What makes this even more powerful is the emotional memory it activates in your cat. On a deep, instinctive level, this tone reminds them of kittenhood, a time when they were completely dependent on their mother for warmth, safety, and survival. The mother cat doesn't communicate through words, she communicates through presence, sound, and calm consistency. When you match that emotional frequency, your cat doesn't think, they feel. And feeling safe is the gateway to trust. That sense of safety is what allows your cat to open up. It's what encourages them to approach instead of retreat, to stay instead of leave, to engage instead of shut down. Over time, consistently using this tone rewires how your cat perceives you. You become associated with calm, comfort, and emotional balance. Your voice becomes something they seek out instead of avoid. And this is why tone of voice can change everything without you changing your behavior in any dramatic way. You're not training your cat, you're not controlling them, and you're not forcing a response. You're simply creating an emotional space where your cat feels safe enough to be themselves around you. Once that happens, communication stops being a struggle and starts becoming a natural, effortless exchange built on trust. But it's not just about tone. The rhythm of your speech plays an equally important role in how your cat perceives you. Cats are extremely sensitive to pace. They are not rushed animals, and they don't feel safe around rushed energy. When you speak too fast, talk without pauses, move your hands constantly, or shift your body a lot while talking, your cat doesn't interpret that as excitement or enthusiasm. They interpret it as anxiety, nervousness, or lack of control. And for a cat, instability in the environment is a reason to stay alert or create distance. From a feline perspective, fast movements and rapid speech suggest that something unpredictable might happen next. Even if nothing actually happens, the nervous system of the cat prepares for it. This is why a cat may suddenly get up and walk away when a person starts talking energetically. It's not boredom or disinterest, it's self-preservation. Cats are wired to avoid chaotic energy. Speaking slowly changes everything. When your words come out at a relaxed pace, with natural pauses between sentences, you give your cat time to absorb what they're sensing. You're signaling that there is no urgency, no threat, and no pressure. Those pauses are powerful because they create space. Space allows your cat to observe, feel, and decide how they want to respond, instead of reacting instinctively. And here's something very important to understand. Your cat's response won't always look the way you expect. Many times, they won't come running toward you or jump into your lap. Instead, they respond with subtle body language. An ear may rotate slightly in your direction. The tail may begin to sway slowly instead of flicking sharply. The eyes may soften, half close, or blink gently. These are not random movements. They are deliberate signals that your cat is engaged and aware. Cats communicate primarily through the body, not through dramatic actions. Once you learn to slow down and observe these small signs, you realize that your cat has been responding to you all along. You just weren't speaking at a rhythm they could comfortably respond to. When your pace matches theirs, communication becomes quieter, subtler, and far more meaningful. This is why slowing your speech and your movements can completely transform your relationship with your cat. You stop overwhelming them, and you start inviting them. And when a cat feels invited rather than pressured, that's when real connection begins to grow. And speaking of slow blinking, this is one of the clearest and most powerful signs of feline communication, yet it's one of the most overlooked. When a cat slowly blinks at you, they are doing much more than just resting their eyes. They're sending a very specific message of trust and emotional safety. In the feline world, maintaining a fixed, unblinking stare is a sign of threat or dominance. So when a cat deliberately closes their eyes in your presence, Even for a second, they are showing that they don't feel the need to stay on high alert around you. A slow blink is essentially your cat saying, "I feel safe with you. I don't see you as a threat. I trust this moment." It's a vulnerable gesture. For a prey animal like a cat, closing their eyes means letting their guard down. That's why this gesture carries so much emotional weight. It's not casual, and it's never accidental. When you slowly blink back at your cat, you are responding in the exact same language. You're mirroring their signal and telling them, "I feel safe with you too." This creates a quiet, emotional exchange that doesn't rely on sound or touch. It's pure communication. Many cats will respond by blinking again, relaxing their posture, or even approaching you afterward. In that moment, you're not just interacting with your cat, you're having a conversation. What makes this even more powerful is that very few people do this consciously. Most humans are used to communicating through words and actions, not subtle facial signals. But when you start slow blinking intentionally, you'll notice a real shift in your bond. Your cat may begin to seek you out more often, sit closer to you, or choose to stay in the same room instead of leaving. These changes might seem small, but they're deeply meaningful in the feline world. Over time, slow blinking becomes a shared ritual. It builds familiarity, emotional safety, and mutual trust. Your cat begins to associate your presence with calm, understanding, and respect. And the more consistently you respond to these signals, the more comfortable your cat feels expressing affection in their own way. This is one of the simplest tools you can use, yet it has the power to completely transform how connected your cat feels to you. Another very common mistake, and one that most people make without even realizing it, is using the cat's name only in negative moments. Think about it for a second. If every time your cat hears their name it's followed by no, frustration, or tension, that sound slowly becomes charged with stress. Over time, the cat doesn't hear their name as an invitation or a sign of connection. They hear it as a warning. This is why some cats don't respond when called, or even walk away the moment they hear their name. They're not being stubborn. They're protecting their emotional balance. Ideally, your cat's name should be associated with safety, comfort, and positive attention. The best moments to say your cat's name are when they're already relaxed, when you're about to gently pet them, when they come toward you on their own, or when something pleasant is about to happen. Said in a calm, soft tone, the name becomes a reassuring sound. Over time, just hearing it can trigger a sense of ease and familiarity, even before anything else happens. This same principle applies to all the words you use around your cat. Cats don't understand complex language the way humans do. They learn through sound patterns and emotional association. Certain sounds begin to predict certain experiences. If you consistently say the same word right before something positive happens, your cat starts to connect that sound with the feeling that follows. For example, if you always say a specific word like come, cuddles, or even a unique phrase in a calm, friendly tone right before affection, play, or treats, that word becomes a signal of something good. The cat doesn't need to understand the meaning. They recognize the pattern. Sound comes first, positive experience comes next. This is why consistency is absolutely essential. When you change words constantly, the pattern breaks. The cat can't form a clear association, and the communication becomes confusing. But when you choose a few simple words and repeat them in the same contexts, your cat begins to feel more secure because they can predict what's about to happen. Predictability creates trust. When your cat knows that certain sounds always lead to positive, safe experiences, they feel more in control of their environment. And when a cat feels in control, they're more relaxed, more open, and more willing to engage with you. Over time, these small, consistent choices shape how your cat experiences your presence, turning everyday communication into a source of comfort rather than stress. Now, something that many people completely overlook, but that can make an enormous difference in how your cat responds, is your body posture while you're talking to them. Cats are highly perceptive creatures, and they don't just hear you, they read your entire body for clues about your mood, your intentions, and whether or not you're safe to be around. If you approach your cat standing upright, staring directly into their eyes with a rigid or stiff posture, what you're actually communicating is dominance, or even a subtle threat. To a cat, that kind of posture is intimidating. Even if your words are calm, your body might be saying something very different, and that conflict confuses them. But the good news is, You can completely change that dynamic just by adjusting how you hold yourself. When you crouch down to their level, relax your shoulders, turn your face slightly to the side, and avoid direct, unblinking eye contact, you instantly become more approachable. Your energy signals safety and openness rather than control or dominance. It's subtle, but incredibly powerful. This is exactly why cats often seem to come closer when you act like you're not paying attention, or when you look away momentarily. They're responding to body language, not words. By ignoring them in the right way, you're actually creating an invitation, a safe space for them to engage on their terms. Another critical piece of this puzzle is respecting your cat's timing. Cats are masters of choice. They value it more than almost anything else. When you call them repeatedly, insist on attention, or try to pick them up when it's clear they don't want to be held, you're overriding their choice. That may seem harmless, but it actually erodes trust. Cats remember those moments, and it affects how they perceive you in the future. On the other hand, when you step back, give them space, and wait for them to approach on their own, you're showing respect for their autonomy. And that is when the magic happens. When a cat chooses to come close to you, to sit beside you, or to seek attention, that connection is far more meaningful. It's genuine, mutual, and built on trust rather than compulsion. In fact, this voluntary engagement strengthens the bond far more than any forced interaction ever could. You're teaching your cat that being near you is rewarding, not obligatory. Over time, they begin to seek your presence, and the relationship shifts from one of cautious tolerance to one of affectionate companionship. This combination, relaxed body posture, subtle eye contact, and respecting timing, is a powerful trifecta. When you integrate it with tone, rhythm, slow blinking, and positive associations for their name, you're not just improving communication. You're transforming the very way your cat experiences you. The result is a relationship where your cat feels safe, understood, and willing to engage on a deeper, emotional level. And once that trust is established, even the most independent or shy cats begin to show affection more openly and consistently. Over time, as you start using this type of communication with your cat, you'll begin to notice some profound, almost magical changes. These changes don't happen overnight, but gradually, your cat will start approaching you more often, following you around the house in a calm and relaxed way instead of waiting for you to summon them. You may notice that they choose to sleep closer to you, on your lap, at the foot of your bed, or even curling up beside you on the couch. They'll start responding more when you call their name, not because you've trained them in the traditional sense, but because they actually want to be near you. You may even hear them vocalize more, like gentle meows, purrs, or even tiny chirps, expressing curiosity, comfort, or simply their happiness in your presence. And here's the key point. None of this is about control, commands, or forcing behavior. It's all about trust. Trust is the foundation of any meaningful relationship with a cat. Cats are not like dogs. They don't respond to pressure or insistence the same way. They respond to security, predictability, and respect. Once your cat trusts you fully, everything changes. They become more confident, more affectionate, and more willing to share their life with you. And the best part? That trust leads to moments that feel completely genuine, moments when you know your cat is with you because they want to be, not because they have to be. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever noticed how your cat reacts when you consciously change your tone of voice, slow down your speech, or adjust your body posture? Maybe they start blinking at you, approaching slowly, or curling up in your lap instead of keeping their distance. Write about it in the comments below. I genuinely want to know. Sharing your experience not only helps us build a community of cat lovers, but it also helps this video reach more people who want to create the same kind of bond with their own cats. Every story, every observation matters. And if this video is helping you understand your cat in a whole new way, take a moment right now to leave a like, share it with someone you know who has a cat, and make sure to subscribe to the channel. Every like and subscription tells YouTube that this content is valuable, which allows more cat lovers to discover it and transform their relationship with their pets. Finally, don't skip to the end. Stay with me until the very last moment of this video. Because in the final part, I'm going to share a subtle but powerful technique that ties everything together. Once you apply it, you won't just be changing your cat's behavior. You'll be changing the way your cat experiences you emotionally. You'll move from being just a person in the house to being a trusted, comforting presence, someone your cat actively seeks out. That is the ultimate reward of learning to communicate the right way. When you change the way you talk to your cat, when you adjust your tone, rhythm, body language, and respect their timing, you don't just improve their behavior. You completely transform the relationship. And that's exactly what makes connecting with cats so beautiful. It's subtle, it's slow, but it's also incredibly deep. Once you learn their language and respond in kind, you experience a bond that is unlike any other. A bond built on trust, understanding, and mutual respect. And the best part is, the more you practice, the stronger it becomes, until you and your cat share a quiet, unspoken understanding that feels almost magical.